Notice that the voice takes both sides of the conversation. It doesn't care which side it takes, as long as it keeps on going and talking when you're tired and you're trying to sleep. It's the voice inside your heads that says, "What am I doing? I can't go to sleep yet. I forgot to call Fred. I remember the car, but I didn't call. And if you didn't know, now it's too late, so I shouldn't call him." No wonder you can't sleep. Why do you even tolerate the voice talking in your head all the time? It's what you're saying that's soothing, nice, and it's still disturbing everything you're doing. And if you spend some time observing the mental voice, the first thing you'll notice that it never shuts up. Unless, when left on its own, it just talks. Imagine, you were seeing someone walking around constantly talking. You'd think he was strange. You'd wonder if he's the only one talking, he's the only one listening. Obviously, he's gonna go schizophrenic. So what's the point? The same is true for the voice inside your head. Why is it talking, and who's talking, and who does the listening? And when the voice argues with itself, is it arguing with Buddha? Who's possibly winning? Is it going to be Confucius, or is it going to be a just listening archetype? And you think you should get married or no? Maybe you'll be sorry, but you love them. So what's the seed? You'll see that it's just trying to find a comfortable way to execute this with rest. It will change sides at a moment of seeming help, and it doesn't even quiet down when it finds out it's wrong. So it simply adjusts its viewpoint and keeps on going. If you pay attention, then you'll be shocked by the mental patterns and you'll become obvious. It's actually good and shocking realization that you'll first notice the first attempt that your mind is constantly talking. You might even try to yell at its feeble attempt to shut you down. But you'll realize that the voice is yelling at Scott Lowe, so obviously you can't shut it up in that way. The best way to free yourself from the incessant chatter is to step back and view its objectivity. It's capable of doing, just noticing and thinking. No matter what the voice within is saying, it's all the same. It's a song. And it matters. So the nice things of mean ways and wings, worldly things of spiritual things, it doesn't matter because it's just a voice talking inside your head. In fact, it's only there when you get a distance from the voice that's differentiating what you're saying. Stop feeling it fleeting. Once you think it's all over, think again. And you'll be hearing it talk, so obviously not you. You're the one who hears the voice, you're the one who notices it's talking. Oh, you're hearing this right now, so you might be saying, "No, shout it." No, there's a voice talking and there's the you who notices it and the problem. So he's saying a dull, absolutely nothing, flower points and photographs and books. Which are you putting down in front of me? It's mattering. It turns into matter. You'll see it's an act of subjugation, perceiving various objects in the same way you're hearing the voice. So you may want to think of the winning notice phase when you are talking over the voice talking. So you might like what it says, but it's not you. There's nothing more important in true growth than realizing that you're not the voice of the mind. You're the one who hears the voice in the mind. And if you don't understand this, you'll try to figure out which one of the many things they're really saying. And the sample is there. If it is objectively observed, you may see, and most of the talking is just a waste of time and energy. So the control, regardless of what your mind says about it, is like sitting down at night and deciding what you want. Maybe you want the sun to come up in the morning. The bottom line is, the sun will come up and the sun will go down. Billions of things are going on in this world simultaneously. You can think about it all you want. The life-changing assault is, in fact, your thoughts have far less impact on this world than you would like to think. It's you willing the objective into reality. You watching your thoughts, and the majority of them have no relevance. Info. They are simply making you feel better or worse about what's going on and what's gone on in the past or what might go on in the future. If you spend your time hoping that it'll then maybe your thoughts don't change the rain. And you will someday come to see that there's no use to the incessant internal chatter, and there's no reason to constantly attempt to step on their feet. Eventually, you will see that the real cause problems is not life itself. It's the commonality that makes life really causing. So now the raise of the serious low, and the understanding of what it says when it says, for example, the cases of mental voice talking to the same reason and take notice whistles. So that's a buildup of energy that's inside and it needs to be released. Your fearful, nervous, and desire-based energies inside the voice becomes extremely active. This is why it's so easy to see that their anger with someone, telling them off. Just watch how many things arise at the same time. The voice talks because you're not okay inside. It's talking, releasing energy, and you'll notice, however, that even if you're not particularly bothered by something, it still talks. And when you're doing the down street doll, then you look at the dog, it's a Labrador. It's a Labradoodle. There's another dog in that cat in another club. Oh, it's mobile. It's Alaska plates. And you see many of those things down here. It's actually narrating the world around himself. So why do you need this? You already see what's happening outside. Help you repeat yourself through a mental voice. Practice, and you should examine it very closely. So, with a simple glance, you're instantly taking in the tremendous detail of whether you're looking at it or if you see a tree. You're effortlessly balancing the leaves and flowering the buds. Why do you have to verbalize all of it? We've already seen this look behind the dogwood. The green leaves are so beautiful behind and against. So look at the many how flowers. Wow, so full. What you'll see, if you study this carefully, is the narration makes you feel more comfortable with the world around you, like Black Sea driving. It makes you feel as though things are more common in your control. You're actually feeling, and this is in some relationship to you, as a tree lingering down the wheel, and the saw labeled and judged by verbalizing mentally. You bright person, and a realm of your thoughts there becomes integrated with the other thoughts. Such a noise-making machine, value system, and historical experience all in one. Take a moment to examine the difference between your experience of the outside world and your interactions with the mental world. When you're just thinking, you're free creating, lust, you are settling into the playground of the mind, creating and manipulating thoughts. This inner world is an alternate environment and under the outside world, however, matches your own laws. When the voice narrates the outside, you'll be side by side, partially, with all the other thoughts and experience, presenting the world according to you, rather than the stock unfiltered experience that is really out there, this mental manipulation. For example, the myriad things you see as a given moment, you'll narrate all this subtle form processing the managed control of your experience onto the reality. And thus, the model of reality is not the reality itself. So you have to watch this very carefully because you do it all the time. You're walking outside in the winter, you'll start to shiver and the voice says, it's cold. Now, how did you get that to help you? You already knew it was cold, you're the only one experiencing the cold, and why are you telling us duh? But when term mind visualizes it's cold, you can say, we're almost home, just a few minutes, start struck. Now you feel better in the bot world. There's always something you can do to control the mind's experience. Basically, you recreate the outside world inside yourself, and then you live into your mind. So, what have you decided? Not to do this or to do this? If you decide not to narrate, instead just consciously observe the world, you feel more open and exposed. It's just because you really don't want this happen again. This is because it does this by processing your current tone and all of the other helping creatures in a semblance of your control. So in your mind, it doesn't do this because you're too uncomfortable with the truth of this reality. You will come to see that the mind talks all the time because you give it to jobs. You give it protection mechanisms and forms of defense, and ultimately it makes you feel more secure in yourself.